back to
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're a
to answer
senator.
the question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the question
you want to put a lot of new Supreme Court justices, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list?
Well, you have a race that's essentially tied in the polls at this point. And so I think that puts sort of equal pressure on both of the candidates, both in terms of the opportunity the debate presents to them, but also the risks.
President Trump wouldn't do anything. I had to send in the U.S. Marshals. They took care of business.
Go ahead, sir.
And by the way, you know, his own former spokesperson said, you know, riots and chaos and violence help his cause.
Now, these are unusual debates. We have a president debating a former president. We haven't had that in the history of presidential debates before. So the public is more knowledgeable about both of these candidates as individuals, more likely to know about their temperament, their habits of mind, their disposition. But this year, because of the age of both, there is a need, even if you think you know a lot about both of the candidates, and you're more likely to this year, for you to be able to say, are they mentally acute enough to be president of the United States and mentally stable enough to be president of the United States? And those are different assessments. The question about Trump is stability. The question about Biden is acuity, although you could make the argument that the question should be about both for both.
So in the case of Joe Biden, you know, I think it's been interesting that Trump and his surrogates have really downplayed Biden's abilities and even his mental acuity at this point, because that's really a gift to Biden. You know, it just means that if he exceeds that level of performance, that he looks better than people expected him to.
And one way to really show that that's just not true is to show the full Joe Biden. I mean, the people I know who work with Joe Biden in the White House, who see him, if not daily, then regularly, that I hear about, I mean, he can be, you know, rough. He can be, you know, pretty strong on people. He can be pretty strong on circumstances. He can be funny. He can be all sorts of things that we don't see him when he's at a teleprompter looking into them and squinting. And I think this is an opportunity to show that.
He's a left-wing
white supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what
it's an idea.
FBI.
He also has a more traditional style of preparation. He's worked with the same people for many years, and they tend to kind of do it by the book. The old school mock debate, real time, and throw everything at him. For instance, I expect they would be working with him on a response for Hunter Biden in the event that Trump brings that up. I think it's risky for Biden to push too hard on the felony convictions. On the other hand, I don't think it can be avoided. And I think if he makes it part of a broader issue about Trump's fitness for office and some of the things that he's done, more of a character issue than specifically about that trial and that outcome. I think that's probably a better strategy for him.
I think political debates are about two things. They're about message and moments. And so you've got to drive a message consistently across the debate, but then you want to have a couple of moments in the debate that are the shiny objects, so to speak, that the press will pay attention to and that allow you to exercise competitive advantage.
The danger with those moments is you're looking for something that's too short to be important to draw the judgment you should about whether a person is qualified.
I call it trumped up trickle down, because that's exactly what it would be. I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
You always want to be on offense in the debate. Audiences judge who wins or loses debates, political debates, based on who is the most aggressive without being offensive.
If you look at the polling after the Hillary Clinton debates and after the Biden debates, Trump did not do so well. And so I think for him, it's a question of going beyond what people expect from him and delivering something that promises a little more than the same old, same old.
I don't think anyone's going to restrain Donald Trump, and I think that's partly his appeal to the folks that vote for him, follow him, like him. So I don't think the goal would be to restrain Donald Trump. I think it would be to suggest ways that he can keep getting back to the message that he wants to drive, and to keep him from crossing the line from being aggressive to being offensive.
Can take to try to get those costs down. But here's what I don't want people to forget.
So the absence of an in-studio audience and the willingness of CNN to suppress the mic of the person who's not speaking should increase the likelihood that the people who are at home watching will be able to at least hear and interpret in their own right the answers being offered by the candidates.
And he will say, they won't even let me speak. You know, what are they afraid of? They want to put me in jail. They won't let me speak. You know, they don't want me to be president. Why? Because they know I'm right. I mean, that's what, I'd be surprised if we don't hear some version of that.
You are naive and at times immature. He has raised the question.
To give me the benefit of key time in history because his party stood.
Everything is about connection and your ability to have an audience believe that you're in this for them. I often say voters vote for 3 reasons. 1 is because they think you're competent. 2 is because they think you're in it for them. And 3 is because they like you. And I think those last 2 things are very, very tied together. And so you have to go out there and connect with the audience.
Our Air Force is older and smaller.
We also have fewer horses and bayonets because the nature of our military has changed. We have these things called aircraft carriers where planes land on them. We have these ships that go underwater, nuclear submarine.
I think the best description I've ever heard of being in a debate came from Bill Clinton, who was quite good at it. And he likened a live debate to jazz music. He said, you know, there's a melody line, there's a particular thing that you have to play, but you have to be able to improvise as well, because in the moment other things are happening and there may be opportunities to interject, you know, some ad-libbing or some improvisational notes that add to the debate.